Thank you again for a wonderful start to our service this morning. Welcome to all of you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing, liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world. Or as we say in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Welcome, everyone. We want to begin, as usual, by welcoming and embracing all that you come with this morning, all of your unique beliefs, your background, your lifestyle, your experiences, your differences. All are welcome here this morning. And this includes those of you who join us each Sunday, as well as those who might be joining us for the first time today. You're equally as welcome and appreciated. And of course, this is also true of the many of you who are streaming with us this morning. It's also great to have you with us. So thanks to one and all. Just a few announcements this morning. One, I'm stuffy. I've got some allergic reactions to whatever is out there. And so you'll pardon my sniffling and watery eyes. I'm not upset with anybody. I'm not sad. I'm not going to say anything so profound that I'm moved to tears this morning, I can assure you. But it's just part of being human. So this is our what we call an intergenerational service. And that means everybody's going to stay in the sanctuary together, the young folk, the little folk, as well as the older folk. It's an Easter intergenerational service. So don't worry, kids. I promise not to be too boring, okay? Still have fun today. And after the service, by the way, we're going to have an Easter egg hunt out in the yard for some of the younger folks. Does that sound good? Who wants to have an Easter egg hunt? The ayes have it. Tom, you're our parliamentarian. Are we having an Easter egg hunt or not? Absolutely. Okay. Parliamentarian says it's passed. So, great. So we'll enjoy that. I also wanted to let folks know, particularly the folks that are streaming with us, just apologize if the service got cut off last week. We were able to record the entire first service, so that's online. You can go back and listen to it. But Finley C. Campbell, our guest speaker, is an extraordinary speaker. I didn't get tired of listening to him in the slightest, but he did go on for a while. And our streaming service gave up. It just was like, I've had enough. We've got other things to do this afternoon. And so, but apologize that it got cut off in the middle of it. We've added some time to our usual length of service just to try to prevent that from happening unexpectedly in the future. And then we have a board announcement. I mentioned this last week too, but we've got one more Sunday to give this, and that is yet another reminder that the Board of Trustees wants your help next Sunday, April 24th, by attending a special congregational meeting following our second service. They are convening a special congregational meeting to vote on the proposed amendments to our Articles of Incorporation and to our revised bylaws, which can only be passed or approved by our membership. The final proposal documents and explanations of each have been sent to all of our church members via email addresses, at least those we have on file. The documents are also posted in the Sun, and hard copies are available if you prefer back in the Friendship Hall, if you haven't seen those. Board members will be represented in today's service. If you have additional questions, they should be available, and you'll notice them by having a board ribbon. It's a red ribbon on their name tags. We do need a quorum, which means enough of our memberships present to actually hold such a meeting. So it may not sound very exciting, but if you are officially a member and can vote, we would really ask that you be here in attendance for that to help us out. So thank you so much. And thanks to our board and to Tom and others who've been working really hard week after week for well over a year to try to get these documents updated. Okay, finally, we are still in the midst of our annual stewardship campaign, in which we ask you to consider pledging to our congregation so that we can budget accordingly. I know folks tend to give on a continuing basis, but if we know what to expect from you, that helps us budget accordingly, and the budget also has to be passed by the congregation, so we kind of have to have an idea of what we're going to have. So if you haven't pledged yet, please do so. For those who have pledged, really appreciate all the support we're already getting, the great generosity. And we're even having lots of folks from far away who stream with us, who have joined the church or are friends of the church, who are also pledging to this community. And we really appreciate that support. We appreciate you believing in us and recognizing that we need your help too. So thank you. That means a lot. And to talk more about why we should contribute to this congregation, I'm going to invite one of our long-time members, Tom Bradabo, who's going to speak on himself and Betty, as to why they are members and why they feel it's important to contribute to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane. He's really fast, so I better quit talking.
Good morning. We were asked, my wife and I, to share with you all, congregation, about why we pledged to the Unitarian Church Spokane. And here is the story. Long ago, not that long ago, back in the late 20th century, we had no association with a church of any kind. In fact, some of us wanted no association with any church that we had experienced. And a friend shared with us this list of principles. First principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Second, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Then acceptance of one another and encouragement of spiritual growth in the congregation. Fourth principle of free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The right of conscience and the use of democratic process within the congregation and society at large. The sixth principle was the goal of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And the seventh principle, a respect for the independent web of all existence of which we are a part. And it turns out this is what the Unitarian Universalist Church is all about. Well, son of a gun. I could go with that. And so Betty and I came and joined the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane. I also have an eighth principle that I try to live by, and the eighth principle is, if you can help, do it. And to pledge to the church is a way to help the church. And we can do it, and so we do it. And I would encourage all of us, all of you, to share and to help the church and help support these principles by making a pledge. So just do it. Thank you.
You just did. Sure. Say something real quick.
I raised my kids here. In 2000, I stopped coming. And then last year, I joined a bunch of evangelical churches. After listening to their message, especially Pastor Shays down at his church, I heard him give a sermon, and it was like, I got to join the church again. I came back here, the Unitarian Church. So I'm a member now. I'm given $100 a month for starters, and I think this community needs this institution to stay here and keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your support. And Tom and Betty, thank you for your support and those great words too. Okay. Oh, we should take a few moments to greet one another. We have a little extra time today, so let's go ahead and say hi to one another. As always, say hi to the folks you look forward to seeing. If you're just joining us, don't be too shy. We're glad to have you. All right, more time to visit after the service, so please stay around for that. Let's move forward now by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith, the symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need. And may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
This is an excerpt from the Time Journal. The exact origins of the Easter Bunny are clouded in mystery. One theory is that the symbol of the rabbit stems from pagan tradition, specifically the festival of Easter, a goddess of fertility whose animal symbol was a bunny. Eggs are also representative of new life. Hundreds of years ago, churches had their congregations abstain from eggs during Lent, allowing them to be consumed again on Easter. According to some sources, the Easter Bunny first arrived in America in the 1700s. Eventually, the custom spread across the US, and the fabled rabbit's Easter morning deliveries expanded to include chocolate and other types of candy and gifts. Additionally, children often left out carrots for the bunny in case he got hungry from all his hopping. Just a few words of my own to add. When I was a child in France, the Easter Bunny did not come to our homes. Instead, it was the bells from the church steeples, just back from a long trip, and bearing beautiful and delicious chocolate bells, fish, and eggs. They deposited their gifts in our summer bonnets, which we had set out on Easter Eve. Nowadays, the Easter Bunny also brings surprises.
Well, when I was a kid, I got to sing the song that we're going to sing together right now. It came out in 1951. Please rise as you're willing and able to sing Peter Cottontail.
We got those lyrics up for you just in time. We are now going to kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our thoughts this morning. Want to begin as we have been these past 2 months now, hard to believe, with a candle on behalf of the people in Ukraine and Russia and Poland and that region of the world that is being most threatened and impacted by what's going on there. I also want to kindle a candle for a friend of mine, Pat Singh. Pat's someone we knew at our church in Louisville, who let me know, called to let me know this week that her husband, Kirk, died suddenly last week of a heart attack. And Pat let me know that she watches our services from time to time, and I told her we'd kindle a candle for her and let her know that we're thinking of her as a congregation at this time. So let's take a moment of silence on behalf of others, and as always, you're welcome to name them aloud if you'd like.
U.S. Vice President Henry Wallace.
Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence, and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. And we now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and our mission to the larger world. Right, it is time for our story for all ages. So for those who would like to come up front and sit, you can. Hey! I can't see you guys. I can't see you way up front. There you are. There you are. Okay, now I can see you. Somebody was wearing a beautiful hat on his head. A beautiful round hat. Heads are round. They should fit on our head, round heads, right? Is that your hat? A bucket. Ah. You've got a hat. A basket. Ah. They go on, and you have a bunny rabbit.
Yeah, and I'm Easter Bunny's son.
What's the first name?
My name's Easter.
Easter, and you're the Easter Buddy's son.
Yes, you retired, so now I'm Peter Rabbit.
You've got Peter Rabbit. Wow, what a coincidence. I'm going to talk about rabbits today. Well, listen, I like to bring a guest with me when I do children's stories. You know that, right? Because I'm such a rotten storyteller myself. And I'm not sure who came today, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be a bunny rabbit. What do you think, since it's Easter?
Yeah.
Okay. No, let me see. Let me see. I'm not sure. What do we have here? Why you don't look like a rabbit at all? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Well, I didn't mean to be rude. It's just that it's Easter and I was expecting a rabbit here. Maybe even the Easter bunny itself. Yes, well, I'm the Easter rat. The Easter rat. I've never heard of the Easter. Have you heard of the Easter rat before? No. I never have either. Well, that's not surprising. Most people don't think of much of those poor rats. They think bunnies are cute and rats are hideous. Well, I don't think you're hideous, do you? You think the rat's hideous? Yes, well.
I think rats are awesome.
Oh, you think they're awesome. See? You think rats are awesome. What do you think is cuter, rats or rabbits? Rabbits. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, look, you what? Oh, you like rats too, but rabbits are cuter. Well, do you know the difference between rats and rabbits? What's that? Rabbits have long ears, and rats have long tails. I guess it's cute on one end and not the other. Well, anyway, in addition to your long tails, you know, there is that other thing. Oh, what's that? Well, never mind. No, I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. You're talking about the bubonic plague, aren't you? Well, yeah, there was that. You think rats are dirty and carry diseases. Well, that's what I heard. Well, that's wrong. Scientists agree the bubonic plague spread way too fast and caused die rats. Well, I didn't know that. That's good to know. I'm sorry that you got such a bad reputation for something you didn't deserve. Yes, and do you know how many human lives rats have saved? Well, saved? How have rats saved our lives? Have you thought about rats saving our lives before? Well, you see, rats and humans are a lot alike. You are? Yes, we share more than 30,000 genes that are identical, which is why scientists use us to help discover medicines to make humans feel better. Wow, I never thought of it like that before. Yes, and rats are so responsible for saving human lives that we are the ones who truly deserve to be called man's best friend. Rats should be man's best friend. Well, I'm sorry that you've been so misunderstood, and I have to admit your long tail is starting to grow on me. What do you guys think? Is that a cute tail? No. Okay, well, what is it, though, that makes you the Easter rat? Do you hide eggs on Easter Sunday? No, I took them up on Easter Monday. Oh, I see. I didn't realize there was an Easter Monday. Oh, yes. Every year, the day after Easter, rats begin picking up all the leftover Easter eggs and candy that the kids don't find. Well, I didn't realize that was an issue. Oh, you'd be surprised. Just one missed egg from only 10% of the American homes adds up to 140,000 eggs. Wow, that's a lot of eggs. What do you do with them? Well, we dispose of them properly. You mean you eat them? Well, that's what rats do best. And the good thing, too, can you imagine how many sick children might get sick if they accidentally eat a rotten egg that got left over from last year's hunt? I've never thought about that. Have you guys ever eaten a rotten egg from last year's hunt? Never find one from last year? Well, I think they would probably smell them before they eat them. But anyway, that's a good idea. I'm glad you do that. Well, rats eat lots of food waste. You do? Yes, we can find food waste all year long out of the garbage cans, the dumpsters, restaurant basements, you name it, doing our job to keep humanity healthy and our streets clean. Wow, okay, well, that's a lot. We're very happy that you do that and stop by to teach us more about what an important species that you are. Well, it's nice to be finally appreciated. Yes, and good luck to you on your rotten egg hunt on Easter Monday. Thank you. Say, where are your garbage cans? I haven't had breakfast yet. Oh, well, you help yourself. The garbage cans are in the back. Did you have a question? No, you were waving goodbye to the Easter rat. What's your question, real quick? Your Easter bunny can jump 100 million miles?
Yes.
That's a space bunny. Yes. Easter hat.
I have never heard of Easter rat, and I think that garbage is disgusting. Give it here to dead people.
Okay.
Egg is Easter egg.
All right. A flying rabbit and a rabbit that's never heard of the Easter rat and thinks garbage is disgusting. Okay, very good. Listen, so we're not going to sing you guys out today. We're going to talk a little more about bunny rabbits in a little bit, and there'll be pictures. And then we're going to hunt Easter eggs. So if you can just tolerate me for a little bit longer. you get a reward. All right? So if you want to sit there or go back to your seats, it's totally up to you. You want to sit there? Okay, you can sit there. That's fine. Or you can sit on the chairs there in the front that are empty if you want to sit on something soft. Okay? All right, and thanks to the Easter wrap.
I wrote the following words for the All Little Nature Chapel. Today we are celebrating Easter. In a few days we will also celebrate Earth Day. This is a wonderful time of renewal. May we rejoice in the gift of the blossoming earth. We are one with the trees and the wind that ruffles their branches. We are one with the animals who wander through the forests. We are one with the light and the rain. Namaste.
All right, well, since it's an intergenerational service, we're going to have a short meditation today. Because it's not fair to ask children to be quiet. It's rude. It violates the very meaning of childhood. But I'm going to invite the congregation to join with me in a responsive reading called Morning Poem by Mary Oliver, number 536. Number 536, that's in the back of your gray hymnal. Deb is going to read with our respondent so that our friends at home can join us as well. Or at least hear the words. So I'll begin and ask our entire congregation to be our respondents today. Every morning the world is created.
Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaped ashes of the night turn into leaves again.
And fasten themselves to the high branches, and the ponds appear like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies.
If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim away along the soft trails for hours, your imagination alighting everywhere.
And if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging,
there is still somewhere deep within you a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted.
Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning.
Whether or not you have ever dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray.
A tisket, a green and yellow bag.
Thanks to our choir for wonderful singing today. Really appreciate it. Happy Easter. So, as I said, and as you know, it's Easter Sunday. And this year we're celebrating it with an intergenerational service, which again means all of you kids get to stay in here the entire service. Aren't you excited? You are? Good. You're going to hunt eggs. You're going to get extra eggs and a chocolate Easter bunny at home. Oh my goodness. Well, I thought maybe you would prefer to go to Children's Chapel for a nice activity and hang out with your friends, but I'm going to do my best to make the next few minutes interesting for all of us by talking about a few fun characters that most of us are familiar with, okay? And as for the adult children in the room, because that's what us grown-ups are, we are actually deep down just big kids. So we keep growing. There are actually some scientists who say that human beings are a kind of infant ape because we never fully grow up into our apehood. We maintain child. So that's kind of complicated. Let me put it like this. Who is the boy who never grows up? How many know? Who's the boy who never grows up? Peter Pan. Thank you. Yes, human beings are a lot like Peter Pan. Secretly, we never really grow up. So today, us kids of all ages are going to play together by playing with the images of some pretend characters. And since it is Easter, we're going to look at some of the most famous rabbits that we know of. Why do you think we're going to talk about rabbits on Easter? Yes? Because it's Easter. And Easter is associated with eggs. Yeah? So I should talk about chickens? Is that what you're suggesting? Why not chickens? Who's associated with Easter? Yeah? What kind of animals? You know. Bunnies. Thank you. Bunnies. So we're going to talk about bunnies. But first, some famous bunnies. But let me ask you, who are some of the most famous bunnies that you can think of? What? Tell me.
Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit. Go ahead. You were going to say Peter Rabbit too, aren't you? What's another? You know another rabbit? Think about it. Now, you think of who else has a rabbit for me? Bugs Bunny. Yes, that's another famous rabbit. He's not an Easter rabbit, but this is just rabbits in general. Who?
Lola. Looney Tunes.
Lola from Looney Tunes. Very good. What, Dan? Harvey, the rabbit. Yes, go. Easter Bunny. Go ahead. Peter Cottontail is a good one. Yes, yes. Thumper. Donnie Darko's rabbit. Very good. Yes. That guy, the son of the Easter rabbit. Yes. You got another one?
Okay. Even
Hares are rabbits. And we all have hair. So in a sense, we all have rabbits on our heads. No?
We have hard hair, not a rabbit.
No, not a rabbit. We'd have to have long ears if we had rabbits on our heads. Okay, well that's good. Well, we're going to talk about some, and there's some that we won't talk about. But I want to start by talking about a real rabbit that I once knew. Okay? He wasn't famous, but his name was Goshevin. Goshevin. At least that's what my family called him. He couldn't speak English like a lot of these pretend rabbits can. But we called him Goshevin, which is a Native American word that means leaper. It's a good name for a rabbit, right? Because rabbits leap. And we mostly just called him Goshi. That was his nickname, Goshi. And until Goshi came into my life, I did not much care for rabbits. I had had some bad experiences with rabbits when I was a little kid, and I grew up believing that all rabbits are mean and stupid. I know, very prejudiced of me. For example, when I was a small child, about 5 years old, we went to a field trip to the zoo, and I got to hold a rabbit, and it seemed like the friendliest rabbit in the world. It peacefully nestled in my arms and rested without struggling or ever wishing to get down, and I thought that I had made a true friend, that this gentle creature really liked me. But when I finally had to put the rabbit down, I discovered it didn't really like me at all. It only liked my warm coat. And it liked my warm coat so much that the entire time I was holding it, it was chewing a hole into my sleeve. A giant hole that my mother was not happy about. Then there was the time that somebody gave my siblings and me 2 rabbits for pets, which we were very excited about at first. But 2 rabbits often lead to more rabbits, which was the case with our rabbits. And we were very excited about a bunch of baby bunnies being born in our home. But it turns out that some rabbits are not very good parents, which was also the case with our rabbits. And none of our baby bunny rabbits survived. So I didn't much care for rabbits because I misjudged them all as being mean and stupid. I was prejudiced against rabbits. Then one day, many years ago, as an adult child, I wandered into a pet store while waiting for the hardware store next door to open, and I saw a large, smoky gray rabbit, very much like this one, all alone in a pen that was elevated off the floor with an open top. And all the rabbits I've ever seen try to run from strangers. But I thought I'd reach in and try to pet this one, which it didn't mind in the least. I was able to continuously stroke its soft ears. So I thought to myself I had misjudged this poor rabbit, to find it wanting kindness and affection. But I stopped to look around for a clock in the room to see what time it was, and all of a sudden I felt my hand, that was still over the top of the pen, popping up like this. The rabbit was pushing against my hand, wanting me to continue to pet it. And I thought, wow, this is really an intelligent rabbit, and an affectionate rabbit. They're not mean and stupid. They're affectionate and smart. And I said, what's the deal with this rabbit? And the guy working at the pet store said, I don't know anything about that rabbit. We found it in the parking lot. In fact, since we don't know anything about it, we're going to sell it for $10. And without even thinking about it, I said, I'll take it. And I paid $10 for that rabbit and put him in my car, and immediately began wondering what I was going to do with that rabbit. And Peggy, my spouse, called me. She was very excited. She called me on the cell phone, very excited. She just bought something for the house that she wanted to tell me about. I can't remember what it was. But I said, well, that's good, because I bought something for the house too. And I thought she might be upset with me, but when I told her it was a rabbit, she said, a rabbit! The kids will love the rabbit. I just got finished reading Watership Down to them. Do you guys know what Watership Down is? That's a book about some heroic rabbits that go on a perilous journey together. So we took him home, and Goshi ended up being a love pet of the family. But I have to say, Goshi was mostly my friend. He lived in a pen in our house, and every morning I would get up and I'd open it up, and Goshi would come out and he'd start doing figure 8s between my legs, running in and out of my legs. It was a game that he taught me. I didn't teach it to him. And even though if I really wanted to, I could have reached down and caught him, I always let him slip out of my grip, because I knew that my friend liked to believe that he was the fastest rabbit on the planet and could not be caught. And there were other times where I'd lay down and watch TV, and Goshi would lay at my side and just have me stroke his ears. I couldn't stop. He wanted me to stroke his ears. I thought I would rub them off, truthfully. He liked to have his ears petted so much. So what I really admired most about Goshi was how content he was with his life. Sometimes I'd open the door to let him go outside, and he'd go out for just a few minutes and nibble on some clover. Before long, he'd come back in on his own and walk right back into his little hovel. And he'd sit there all day with that cute little nose twitching. And I began to think of him as a bit of a Zen master. His contentment with life. He taught me a lot about being happy with what is, rather than feeling anxious by always wanting things to be different or wanting something else. So Goshi taught me a lot while he was with us. And of course, he taught me about my own prejudices, how important it is not to judge everyone because of the actions of just a few. Just because some rabbits weren't good pets doesn't mean no rabbits are good pets. And that's the same with people, right? We should judge people by their own actions, not by the actions of others. So Goshi was a real rabbit, but there are some pretend rabbits that I want to talk about now. One of them was mentioned earlier, Bugs Bunny. You recognize Bugs Bunny? Bugs Bunny was one of the most famous wisecracking rabbits in history, and he's one of my favorites. Do you know what Bugs Bunny is most famous for saying? Yes. What's up, Doc? You knew it too?
He always says to a person, he knows what's up, Doc.
What's up, Doc? That's right. Well, do you know what his second most famous phrase is? Most people don't know this one. He says, you know, huh? Daffy Duck? Yeah, he does say a lot to Daffy Duck. But what he says, his second most famous line is, I suppose you know that this means war. Yes. Now, Bugs Bunny was actually what we call a wartime baby, because he was born, or created, if you will, during World War II, 1940. And his wisecracking, rule-breaking defiance ended up making him an inspiring symbol of the American character during World War II. The war was against authoritarians. That kind of means big bullies who wanted to rule the world. And Bugs Bunny became a symbol of anti-authoritarianism and resistance. And his image appeared all over the country on anti-Nazi propaganda, was painted on businesses and in bars, and on paratroopers' patches, and he was even tattooed on some soldiers. In one cartoon, for example, instead of falling off of a cliff, Bugs Bunny is able to magically float in thin air without falling. You know how he explained that? He said, I know this defies the law of gravity, but I never studied the law. And I once heard a college professor, they're supposed to be pretty smart, not all of them are, some of them are, who said Bugs Bunny defies authority, he goes against the rules, but he does it in a way that's often lovable, and that often results in good things for the culture at large. So Bugs Bunny was always funny, even though he was really standing up against bullies and ultimately standing up for freedom of expression. And for this reason, we call Bugs Bunny's kind of humor satire. That's the kind of joke that pokes fun of authorities and dumb rules in a lighthearted way that lets us get away with pointing out how silly some of them can be. It's like political cartoons we see in newspapers, or like the humor of comedians like Bill Maher and Jon Stewart and Trevor Noah and Stephen Colbert, and other people, some of you will appreciate more as you get older. So we need people like Bugs Bunny in our world, especially when times are tough. Now, Bugs Bunny is a lot like another rabbit called Brer Rabbit. You recognize Brer Rabbit? Some people know Brer Rabbit. Brer is Southern slang for brother. So this is Brother Rabbit. And Brer Rabbit was a tool through which the descendants of Africans were able to pass along their folk stories. Like Bugs, Brer Rabbit was a trickster character who likes to bend the rules and sometimes go against social expectations. He reminds us of the importance of keeping our old stories and the important lessons they teach us, even as he shakes things up when some of the old ways turn out to be silly and aren't needed anymore. And another kind of rabbit that we need in our lives was already mentioned, Thumper. You recognize Thumper? You know Thumper, yes. He's friends of Bambi. Yeah, he's the rabbit in the Disney movie about an orphaned deer named Bambi. And he's named Thumper because of the sound his back paw makes when he's... Yes, exactly. You know your Thumpers well. But I think that he could also be named Thumper because of the way he tends to thump some people with the truth, even though doing so isn't always considered so polite. When he first meets Bambi, you know what Thumper says? Do you remember what Thumper says when he first meets Bambi? He said, "You're kind of wobbly." And Thumper's mother reminds him, if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. Well, it may not have been nice, but it was true. As a young deer, Bambi was very wobbly, especially when Thumper teaches him to ice skate and reminds him of it again. So Thumper is the kind of friend who tells Bambi the uncomfortable truth. But he is also a friend who is there to support Bambi when he is wobbly and still learning to stand on his own four hooves. Don't we all need friends like this in our lives who aren't afraid to tell us what we need to hear rather than just what they think we want to hear? We don't have a lot of those friends, right? And especially a friend who will tell us the truth in a way that is loving and supportive. I'm going to tell you the truth, but then I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you. Those are the kind of friends we want and the kind of friends we should strive to be. I'm sure you've also heard of the Velveteen Rabbit. You've heard of the Velveteen Rabbit? Yes, a favorite. The Velveteen Rabbit is also a toy rabbit that asks a skin horse what it means to be real. For the toy horse, being truly loved is what makes us real. But that's just one answer. What's really important is the question, because it's the question that all of us have to ask ourselves. No matter how young or how old we are, nobody knows for sure what real is. Scientists and physicists are still trying to figure out what is real. Whatever the answer is, and it's one that none of us will fully understand, what's important is that we try to figure it out for ourselves. The skin horse tells the Velveteen Rabbit that reality is about being loved. For some, becoming real might be about loving others. For some, being real is about doing something really important in the world for people they may never even meet or know, like coming up with a cure for cancer or traveling to a distant planet someday. Still, for others, it might simply be about doing small things for the people we do know. That can bring us meaning, too. No matter what the answer is, for some, it could be throwing a bucket around, right? That could be meaningful. No matter what the answer is, you just keep throwing that bucket around. I am undaunted. No matter what the answer is, each one of us is a Velveteen Rabbit trying to figure out what the world means to us and what we are going to mean for the world. The answer is different for each of us and may sometimes change as we get older, which is why we should keep asking ourselves, what does it mean to be real? How many of you remember the Energizer Bunny? The Energizer Bunny, yes. Now that is an archetype worth remembering. The Energizer Bunny is another toy rabbit, like many of them are, that runs on Energizer batteries, that keeps showing up in commercials without ever running out of power. Now, one of my favorite commercials in which the Energizer is one in which the Energizer Bunny is confronted by Darth Vader. How many of you know who Darth Vader is? You do? Yes. There's others. So Darth Vader has his lightsaber out, and the Energizer Bunny comes in, boom, bump, 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 and Darth Vader goes, womp, I shall teach you the dark side of the Force. And all of a sudden his batteries go out in his lightsaber. And the Energizer Bunny just keeps going and going and going, right? So this reminds me of a young woman that I see almost every day running in our neighborhood. She's remarkable because she runs up and down Sunset Hill. How many of you have seen Sunset Hill? Very steep hill, right? Even some, really good runners maybe go up at one time. I'll leave the neighborhood in the morning, see her running, and I'll come back later that afternoon and she's still running. And it's not her first pass, she's going up and down. She's a real-life Energizer Bunny. And sometimes I think all of us need to be like her. We have to find that inner strength and determination to keep going and going and going, no matter how difficult the task before us. We've had to be the Energizer Bunny these past 2 or 3 years, haven't we? There's been a lot going on. We've had to keep finding the strength, the fortitude to keep going and going and going, never knowing when it was going to end. Putting in the effort to do what's best for ourselves and our society isn't always fun, whether it's vigorous exercising or doing our homework and chores. How many of you like doing homework and chores? Not a hand. One person. Bravo. I salute you. I salute you. Huh? I didn't give you... That's boring. You do like playing. Kids' work is playing. Oh, beautiful. Write that down. Kids' work is playing. And you have lots of energy to do that, don't you?
Yes, I can put.
Let me see you run up here real quick, real fast. Holy mackerel. You are fast. Okay. Let me try. One more. You guys can run. Holy, look at you go. Wow. Oh. And you... All right. Hey, we'll have to have an Easter egg hunt race. We're going to turn the Easter egg hunt into a race. Anyway, I'm glad we don't need to talk about the Energizer Bunny with you guys. You're good. So let's move on to the White Rabbit. You know the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland? You do? Let me tell you a little bit about him, okay? So this rabbit introduces himself to Alice, who's a young girl, by saying, I'm late for a very important date. No time to say hello, goodbye, I'm late. You did. Okay. So anyway, the White Rabbit really isn't a lesson in being prompt, okay? Because Alice thinks the White Rabbit must be up to something very important, because he's paying such attention to being there on time, she follows him. And she follows him into the rabbit hole and emerges in Wonderland. And it is in Wonderland that she begins to see the world from different perspectives. From big perspectives and small perspectives and all sorts of other strange perspectives. And so the white rabbit reminds us to begin to look at the world through fresh perspectives, to look at the world through new ideas, to look at our own ideas in new ways, and consider the ideas of others in new ways, in fresh ways. So the white rabbit is an important part of our lives as well. To take a journey into the unknown and to walk in circles, too, yeah. Okay, another rabbit. One more rabbit. This is a rabbit that some of you may never even have heard of. Some of you may have heard of, but I'm sure that none of you have ever seen. It's a 6 foot, 3.5 inch tall rabbit named Harvey, who starred in an old movie with Jimmy Stewart named Harvey. What's that? That's what they're depicting on the picture, yeah. And in the movie, Stewart's character is named Elwood Dowd, and he's the only person who can see Harvey. So everyone else thinks he's crazy. But it turns out that Harvey is real. He's a puka, a friendly creature from Celtic legend that has the power to stop time and transport people anywhere they want to go for as long as they want to be there, for months and years, and then bring them back as if they haven't been gone for a single second. Wouldn't you like to have a friend with that magical power? You would? Yeah. It's a carnival. 100 million minutes, yes.
I want us to take you to the future.
To the future? Yeah, he could do that too.
And I want him to make me give it up so I can make that people come back to humans.
And back to you. So you know, time is not an issue.
Maybe go back to the dinosaurs, but
Back to the past, the dinosaurs, and to the future. That's good. Even past the dinosaurs, to the Big Bang. Okay, listen, keep those ideas coming because, I mean, with a friend like a puka, time is inconsequential. Okay? All right, so let's talk a little bit more about Harvey, though. Because I think that the important part of this story is that in the end, everyone realizes that Elwood is such a great guy that it doesn't matter if he does see invisible rabbits. Harvey reminds us all that there's much more to life than meets the eye, and that it's okay for people to be a little weird, so long as they're kind-hearted. Now, there are lots of other rabbit characters I could talk about, like Beatrix Potter's Peter Rabbit, someone mentioned. Did anybody mention Steven Spielberg's Roger Rabbit? Roger Rabbit? Or how about just Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh's 100-Acre Wood? Peter Cottontail singing Hippity Hoppity, Easter's on its way. Or Baby Thumper. But since Easter has already arrived, perhaps we should introduce one rabbit on this special day known as the Eastertide hare. Do you know who the Eastertide hare is?
Easter Bunny.
Easter Bunny, that's right. In other words, the Eastertide hare is the Easter Bunny. So let's see. Which one of those do you think is the Easter Bunny?
Oh, I think it is. I think the Easter Bunny is this big.
You think it's the short one?
I think it's. Okay, let me think. I think it's the.
Do you think the Easter Bunny's even up there?
I think it's. I don't know if he's up there. He could be not.
Where could the Easter Bunny be if he's not up there?
Oh, he's there.
He's where? He's what? Oh my gosh! Looky who's here! The Easter Bunny! Wow! Now, the Easter Bunny doesn't speak, but does body language, right? So, okay. So you've been out hiding Easter eggs. Ready for an Easter egg hunt for the kids?
Yeah.
And you have a little treat for them here? Oh, would you guys like to come and get a treat from the Easter Bunny? Come on, kids, come and get a treat from the Easter Bunny. Yay! Oh, yay! Thank you. Well, it means a lot for the Easter Bunny to take time away from its busy schedule, hiding Easter eggs from kids. And we're so glad you're here today. Now, for those of you, look, I see a lot of you have baskets, but if you didn't bring a basket, Peggy, way up here, has some Easter bags that you can get. And you can then enjoy the Easter egg hunt with those. So, anything else they need to know, Peggy? Oh, it's in the fenced area back there. So, and I didn't even ask, is anybody supervising them, or are we just going to go out? Okay. Go out and just behave as well as you did in here today, and we're all going to have a great time. Okay? Okay. Tell you what, we're going to sing one more song, and the Easter Bunny and I will go back there. And if your parents want to get a picture with you and the Easter Bunny with their cameras in the back before you go out for your Easter egg hunt, you can do that too. Okay? All right. Thank you, Easter. Well, stay here. We'll walk down together.
And all you adults out there, if you would stand as you're willing and able, we are going to sing Irving Berlin's Easter Parade, the chorus twice through.
May this marvelous time of renewal bring about immense happiness, hope, and peace. Breathe in the scent of the flowers gently appearing to brighten our life. Breathe, 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 and believe in the joy of new beginnings. Happy Easter! Happy Earth Day! Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.